Hello, folks. Hello. Welcome once again to the Young Entrepreneur Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Angel Santos, coming straight from the beautiful Sunshine State, Orlando, Florida. And I'm so blessed to be here again. Happy Friday, by the way. Yes, we made it through the Lions, Tigers, and Bears. Oh, my. Yeah, I'm showing my age with that quote there. But, anyways, we're here to have fun, guys. It's Friday. It's Father's Day weekend. So, by the way, happy Father's Day to all the wonderful fathers out there. I hope you guys have a safe and a fun weekend along with your family, children, etc., and all that. So, be safe out there little by little. We're getting back to the normal. So, that's a good thing. So, just be safe out there. Drink a lot of water, stay out of the sun, and drink a lot of energy, right? So I got my energy right here, guys. As you know, got my energy, got my natural energy, my energy Go Sticks tropical flavor. I love it. I love it because my wife and I, as you already know, a couple announcements. We have our collagen, we have all of our natural products, Gold Factor. Listen, if you're into natural supplements, you have to check out my website. Let me go ahead and put it here real quick, guys. So visit that website if you ever into natural supplements. Good energy. As you can tell, I am pumped. I had not had coffee, but the one from this morning, right? But I have my energy. I am ready. I have my water. I'm so excited, guys. If you are joining this podcast right now, please share this content on YouTube Live, Facebook Live, because I have a very special invited guest today that we're going to be talking about a lot of good topics. So, also, dry mailbox. If you guys know of anyone that needs a mailbox in the Orlando area, I am your guy. I will go to your home, install the post, the mailbox, black or white. Listen, look me up and I'll be glad to come and fix your mailbox because that mailbox will make your house look a lot more better. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, guys, as you already know, we are here excited, Young Entrepreneur Mindset Podcast, and I am so ready. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get things a little bit started. Also, at the end of this show, I will have the audio download, okay? That's going to be available right there, as you can see, through the Anchor app. Also available through Google Podcasts and Spotify. Anchor is part of Spotify, so that's brought to you by Spotify. So you'll be able to look me up on Google under the podcast name and Spotify. So you can download the audio there, and we are so ready. So, guys, once again, thank you for joining me. I hope you guys enjoy the show. If you have any questions, any comments for my guests, during or after the podcast, please comment below. I'm going to have her links here that you can follow her on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and everything. So this woman is very busy. So I'm going to get the show on the road. Okay, guys, because it is a pretty, guys, that the profession of a doctor is something that is very busy person, very knowledgeable about health and wellness. So we're talking about health and wellness. Okay, we're gonna be talking about entrepreneurship. Running business. Woman is super busy. I have with me Dr. Debra Muth. She is a women's health expert. Okay, founder of Serenity Health Care Center and successfully runs 6 businesses. Yes, I said 6 businesses. I run 3, and I thought 3 was a handful. So she is doubled what I am doing right now. Now, her passion is to help women be the best they can in health and in business. Okay, guys. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to our show, Dr. Debra Muth. How are you?
Hi, I'm so great. Thank you for having me today.
That is a blessing to have you. Like I said, Dr. Debra, thank you so much for taking your time. I know you have a very busy schedule. I understand that you run a lot of businesses. I do not know how you, like you said, you have a great team. Thank you to Casey because I've been in
Mhm.
contact with her, your assistant. She has been great. So shout out to her and the rest of your team. So Debra, how's everything out there in Wisconsin? You said it's
Mm.
very hot, correct?
It's very hot out here right now. It's about 90 degrees, and this is probably about 15 degrees warmer than it normally is this time of year, but it's sunny and it's beautiful. We had a nice storm come through yesterday. We're running a little bit of a drought, so we really
Yeah.
needed that rain. So we're really grateful for that.
Oh, okay. I thought we were only ones in Florida too, because here these little ponds. I feel sorry for the
Oh,
animals, the ducks and the
mhm.
turtles. Like the water was, you could see the bottom of the pond. I'm like, oh my God, what's going
Mhm.
on? And we just
Yeah.
had a crazy rain here the past few days. So, Deborah, thank you so much again. So let's get right into. I like to start off with the story because a lot of people
Mhm.
connect with stories and whatnot. Are you born and raised in Wisconsin?
I am born and raised in Wisconsin, never left. My family's all here. I'm lucky to have all my children here. My grandchildren are here. So it's a great place for us to be.
That is awesome. That is awesome. So now, when you were, let's say, because I like to start when in your youth, like, were you
Mhm.
that young girl that was saying, when I grow up, I want to be a doctor?
No, not at all.
What?
As a young girl, I was quite the rebel. Not a great student. My GPA was like 2.7 because I didn't show up for school half the time. I
Really?
was
Oh my.
too busy playing and having fun and doing that kind of thing. School wasn't my thing. And I grew up in a lower middle class family. Never had an intention of being a doctor, never
Wow.
saw that on my radar at all. Um, I remember telling my dad when I was about 16 that I wanted to be a lawyer. And he
Okay.
said to me, "You're not smart enough to be a lawyer. You just go to school and be a hairdresser. That's what you should do." And I
Wow.
did that because that's what my parents told me to do. Even though I was a rebel, that's what they told me to do. That's what they told all of our family friends I was going to do. So I didn't feel like I could speak up at that time. And so at 17, when I graduated high school, I went to school and I did that for about 10 years. And about 7 years into that, I realized like, this is like not my thing. I'm okay at this, but this is not where my passion is.
Yeah.
And I started back to school in psychology and wanted to work in that field. And then quickly realized, like, yeah, this is good, but it's still not me. And so I changed professions again in school, went back to school again and changed and became a nurse practitioner. And once I became a nurse practitioner, I realized like there's so much that I don't know about medicine. Someone introduced me to integrative medicine and I absolutely fell in love with it. I was like, there's so much that I didn't learn as a nurse practitioner in traditional medicine. And so I went back to school to become a naturopathic doctor.
Oh, okay. Now
Mhm.
explain that. What is that
Yeah.
naturopathic doctor? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so a naturopathic doctor is a little bit different than your traditional medical doctor. We
Okay.
go to school and we learn all things nutrition, all things herbs and plants, and lifestyle medicine. And in some programs, you do learn how to prescribe medications and minor surgeries and things like that, but that's really not what the base of our knowledge is. The base of our knowledge is how to teach people how to use all the natural sources that we have in life to heal our bodies. So, like when you're talking about natural supplements, that's the kind of thing that we learn, like all the
Exactly.
different herbs, all the different amino acids. How do those things work in the body? And if you're deficient in them, how do we give you the best sources back to rebuild your body?
Oh, okay, okay. And how long have you been? You've been over 20 years, is that correct?
Yeah, I've been a practicing nurse practitioner for about 24 years. I've been a naturopath for 20 years.
Oh my God, that is
Mhm.
awesome. So now you run the six businesses. How do you run? How do you find time to run six businesses, especially the profession of a doctor? I mean,
Yeah. It's a challenge for sure. Luckily, many of my businesses all tag onto my main business with this, which is my medical practice, right? So
okay,
a lot of those things just tag on there. So it's not real complicated to do. But last year, I launched a gluten-free flour line, which is completely different and totally out of my realm of what I know. So that's been a little bit more of a challenge. But I have built a great team around me to help me so that it doesn't require absolutely all of my time. What I
exactly.
realized with myself is I'm a great creator. I love to create and I am always constantly thinking of new ideas. I'm not such a great implementer or operator. So I've surrounded myself with great implementers and operators. So when I have this wonderful idea, they can move on it for me.
Ah, okay. So do you have
Mhm.
also someone that manages like your social media platforms as well?
Yes. Yep. I
Okay.
do. I have somebody that manages my social media platforms. Casey manages my GF Naturals platform. And I have another gal out of California that runs my platform for my Serenity Healthcare Center because I just don't have time to do a lot of that. I can help come up with
Exactly.
content, but I can't figure out how to do it all, nor do I want to spend
Okay.
my time doing that.
So talk about the Serenity Healthcare Center.
Mhm.
How did you come up with the concept and whatnot?
Yeah. So I had the pleasure of purchasing a medical practice about 20 years ago for
Okay.
$8,000. I joined a medical clinic. I bought a practitioner out of his business when he was retiring for $8,000. At the time,
At the
I thought, oh
time.
my God,
Yeah.
I landed the best deal of the lifetime, right?
Yeah.
And then I started to realize, like, wait a minute here. This guy worked 40 years for this, and I'm paying him $8,000 for 40 years of his work. I'm like, this isn't such a great business idea. It was
Wow.
great for me buying in, but not so great when I was ready to exit. And so I started to learn everything I could about business because I never had anyone in my family that owned a business or operated a business. I didn't really grow up in that world. And so I had to learn, how do you create a successful business? What does that look like? And I started to work on that. And about 11 years ago, I chose to sell that practice and leave and start my own practice, which is Serenity Healthcare Center. I wanted to put like minded practitioners under the same roof where we could
Yeah.
share our expertise and knowledge, and we could leverage that knowledge to help our clients get better faster. And so that's what birthed out Serenity Healthcare Center for us.
Ah,
Mhm.
okay. That's awesome. It's amazing. I mean, because while you're talking, I remember you saying that your father, you said you wanted to do something, and your father, you
Mhm.
would think it would be that person to encourage you and whatnot. And he's like, no, this do a
Mhm.
hair salon. Is like, so what motivated you to, because you got into a nurse practitioner? Is that what you got you into the
Mhm.
health and wellness?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what got me into the health and wellness space. So, as I was
Okay.
practicing as a hairstylist and I realized it really wasn't for me,
Yeah.
I decided to go into the wellness field. And I started out at 16 working in a nursing home. So, I loved that. And,
Because you were
you know,
caring for people and you had to interact.
mhm.
Okay. I see
Yeah,
where
I
it's
was
going.
caring
Yeah.
for people. I love the interaction. I love the stories that the
That's
elderly people
awesome.
could tell us. And
Yeah.
there's so much history there that you just lost. So I knew I wanted that connection. And so I went back into working in the health and wellness space while I was
Yeah.
going to school as a nurse, and then just continued to work and grow, and worked in a fertility clinic for a while and as a
Wow.
nurse. And it was just an amazing opportunity for me. And I knew if I wanted to do more things, I had to go back to school to be a nurse practitioner. I couldn't do it just as a nurse.
Okay. Talking about right where we see right here the Facebook 15K doctor, 15K a
Mhm.
day. I talked a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So a few years ago, I had this idea that I wanted to teach practitioners how to build a successful, financially successful functional medicine practice. So
Okay.
many of the practices are like the practice that I purchased, that they're not making a lot of money, they're doing a lot of good for people, but nobody ever taught us business. And so I started coming up with this idea of teaching people what I've built. I've been very successful in my practice. And so I've created the 15K a day doc about a year ago.
Right.
And what we did was we took all of our protocols, all of our processes, all of the things that we've done to make our clinic successful, and put them into a coaching program. So people don't have to struggle anymore when they want to make this functional medicine practice successful. And when
Right.
they want to maybe own it, but not run it, we have all those tools that we've created to do just that.
Oh wow, that's awesome. That's great. Thank you, doctor, for sharing that. So let's go ahead and get a little bit into the thank you, because the business wise, I understand the entrepreneurship,
Mhm,
how that was born into you. That's awesome.
mhm.
Thank you for sharing that. So talking about a little bit about health, right? Because
Yeah,
obviously, and I call also, man, we go through a mid-age crisis too. I call it menopause.
that's right. It
Especially,
is.
yeah. So the menopause, like, what are the early signs of menopause, especially in women, right?
Mhm.
Go ahead. So
Yeah.
what are those signs?
So in women, the first thing you're going to start to see is some insomnia. And that starts at about age 35, believe it or not. We start having problems getting to sleep, staying asleep, not feeling rested. We start feeling a lot more hormonal disruptions, especially just before your menstrual cycle. People will
Yeah.
become more irritable. We'll see more PMS, more brain fog. And as that age progresses, we go deeper and deeper into that. And so there's weight gain that happens around the midsection. You start to develop hot flashes, night sweats, lose your sexual desire. A lot of women will start to lose the way their body looks. They don't like it so much more. There's a lot more body fat, less muscle mass, more weight gain. And then you start with the brain fog and the fatigue. You can't remember things, you can't focus, you can't concentrate. And the older we get, the more those symptoms will become pronounced if we don't manage them somehow.
Right. So that's important because insomnia. So now you're into the natural,
Mhm.
natural thing. So what do you recommend for someone, especially my audience that's listening, that can't get that sleep, they can't get that rest? Is there something that you could recommend
Mhm.
naturally?
Absolutely. So there's things like valerian root. Melatonin is one of the most common things that we know of, and that really helps us to get to sleep. But there's two different types of melatonin. There's an immediate release for people who can't turn their brains off and can't get to sleep. And
Yeah,
then there's that sustained release for people who can't stay asleep throughout the whole night. And that
exactly.
helps with that. The other thing that we can do for people who have that broken sleep between 2 and 4 o'clock in the morning, that's typically a serotonin deficiency. And so we'll give something called 5-HTP, which is an amino acid that helps our bodies get more serotonin. And it allows that serotonin to stay in the brain longer so we can stay asleep sounder.
Mm.
Another good thing that you could use is GABA. GABA is another amino acid we tend to lose with age. And you tend to know you have that issue because you get more anxious and nervous. And so
Okay.
if you're feeling those kinds of things, GABA is really great to take at bedtime to just kind of help relax you. Another really
I'm
good thing
sorry.
for
What
sleep.
what is the GABA? I'm not too
Yeah.
knowledgeable.
Yeah, GABA is actually an amino acid and it's an essential neurotransmitter that we have. So
Okay.
typically people who have a lot of anxiety or have panic attacks, they'll be deficient in GABA, and that
Okay.
amino acid will help them create GABA in their body so that they don't feel so anxious. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So those there's another. What are other signs of menopause women? Because now you're saying that there's an
Mhm.
early age as well. So it's not that they're that
Correct.
mid age. It's early age, like 35.
Yeah.
You said.
Yeah. So perimenopause is defined as the 7 to 10 years prior to menopause. The average age of menopause is about 52, give or take 2 years on either side. So you're going
Okay.
to start losing your hormone that's called progesterone, which is your very calm, euphoric hormone. Around age 35, we're going to start to see that decline. You'll have plenty of estrogen, plenty of testosterone before that time. But as progesterone declines, that's when we become more irritable, more cranky, more moody, and so that's the very first sign that your hormones are shifting. Normally, about age 45 is when you're going to start to see some of those hot flashes creep in, some of the night sweats, some of the vaginal dryness. You're going to start to see a decline in your sex drive, and you'll start to see some skin changes occur as well, more dryness to the skin. You don't have that elasticity that you normally have. And then between age 45 and 55 is where you really start to see some of those symptoms increase.
Okay, okay. That's very important to know. Yeah, thank you. Because
Mhm.
my wife is definitely listening, and we're around the age group that we're. I mean, I have mines too. There's times
Mhm.
where these outbursts, not so badly, but it's like I don't know. And sometimes I sleep well. Let me tell you,
Mhm.
I sleep very well. But there's a time when and men that we just have these outbursts, and sometimes I catch
Mhm.
myself like, oh wow, have you experienced that when and
Absolutely. So men have the luxury of not experiencing that until they're a little bit older, maybe
okay,
45 at the earliest, but usually around 50, 52 is where you're going to start to see some of that, where
oh
they lose interest in things. They lose their drive, their creativity, that competitive edge. They don't get a lot of enjoyment out of things that they used to if their testosterone is falling. We'll start
yes,
to see some irritability happen there. They'll get some brain fog there, and they start to lose a lot of their stamina and their muscle mass and strength. And that's when you
yeah,
really start to know they're losing testosterone.
yes, because I am 40. I'm going on 46 next month, And
Hmm.
I can see that because even I've researched like testosterone even has to do with hair loss,
Yes. Hmm.
correct? Hair loss,
Hmm.
muscle mass. I mean,
Hmm.
there's a lot of things. And what other natural or maybe natural foods that we could
Hmm.
consume? Because give us the foods that we should consume,
Hmm.
and versus the foods that we should not consume. That especially the
Yeah.
men when our testosterone is slowing down, which I'm experiencing, and then weight gain and or even
Hmm.
try to lose weight or maintain that that healthy diet. It's very hard now.
It is much harder than it was when we were younger as those hormones start to shift. So, certainly for both men and women, we want to avoid a lot of the processed foods, the white refined sugars, flours, those kinds of things. If we can limit that, that helps significantly, even for women with hot flashes and night sweats. They will notice a lot more of those symptoms if they have a lot of sugar substances in their diet. And we're not talking about sugars that come from fresh fruits or vegetables, it's mostly that white refined sugar. The other thing that triggers a lot of those symptoms for women is alcohol. And so you
Oh
just
yeah.
need to know that if you're having alcohol, you're probably going to trigger some hot flashes. Now, one secret that I tell people to use if they're going to have alcohol and they want to clear that quicker is to use an amino acid called N-acetylcysteine. We call it NAC for short, NAC.
Okay.
And that helps detoxify the toxins in your body and clears them out.
Mm,
So when you drink alcohol, you don't have those negative side effects so much with them. So that's a really nice secret to use. But we really want a diet that's full of whole foods, fresh fruits and vegetables, organic as much as you can, so you don't have those toxins that are sprayed on them.
yeah.
And then I think one of the biggest things that we forget about and we don't do enough of is protein. Protein is the building block for
Yes.
us. We need that for our cells, and most of us are deficient. We don't get enough protein. A lot of people need somewhere between 80 and 120 grams of protein a day. And if we look at our macros, we're not getting nearly as much of that to build muscle mass and burn that body fat.
Exactly. Yeah, because protein, even some of the natural, even some of the supplements that
Hmm.
some people buy. That's why my wife and I we have in our natural supplement we do have a protein that's easy to digest, and
Hmm.
also what's dangerous is that a lot of these over the counter products, which some people I've studied that is that
Hmm.
you have to be careful with the carbs because then
Yes.
you're consuming protein, but then at the same
Hmm.
time how much carbs did it have? Because then the carbs,
Hmm.
if you don't burn it, it turns into fat.
Correct. Yep,
See?
absolutely. And collagen is another thing that's really important as we
Oh,
age because we lose that collagen, and collagen's needed for repair, for skin, for hair, for everything.
joints,
It's yeah,
everything.
joints, everything. It's really important. And most of us are not eating bone marrow these days. It's not a delicacy that you can find everywhere.
Yeah,
So, doing things with bone broth or taking collagen powder or collagen supplements can really be helpful for you to get that collagen to rebuild your tissues and your cells.
yes, yes. I got now that you mentioned that, I have to do commercial. My wife, she consumes the collagen as well
Hmm.
because we put it in water, so it's important because when
Yeah.
we drink it in water, you have a
Hmm.
collagen. But also
Hmm.
with collagen, you have to be careful which one you're buying because you have a lot of sugar, and then the
Yeah.
sugar is not good. It's crazy because
Hmm.
everything that you try, no matter how organic you try to do it, there are pros and cons. It's
Yeah.
just
If
crazy.
It's crazy. And if they're putting a lot of sugar or stevia or erythritol in their products, it's because the product tastes like crap. Otherwise, they
Exactly.
wouldn't have to put that in there. They're just trying to flavor it so you can
The
get it
flavor.
down. And you shouldn't have to do that with collagen. Collagen really doesn't have any taste to it at all. You should be able to put it in something warm and drink it and not notice anything, or something cold and it
Exactly.
shouldn't clump up. So if you're getting a good collagen, you shouldn't have that problem.
That's good. That's good.
Mhm.
And of course, doctor, the most important thing is exercise.
Mhm.
Exercise, exercise. How
Yeah.
often are you able to get your exercise running so many businesses? Do you find time
I
for
do.
exercise?
I find time usually about 5 days a week. I love to walk. That's my big thing. So I
Yes.
walk as every day if I can. There's some days I don't get that in, but most of the time you'll find me walking. I like to go to the gym. I probably get there maybe 2, 3 days a week to do some weight training and things like that. But
Yeah.
yes, it is an important thing. It needs to be a priority for us.
Okay. So one last question regarding the menopause. So once like the woman when they pass through that menopause and men as well, is
Mhm.
there a time when we are safe to say that okay, we already passed Deborah, or is it something symptoms that come down later down the road again?
They usually will come down the road again. So once you get through menopause, and we define that by doing a test called the FSH level, it's called follicle stimulating hormone. Once that level is above a certain number, you're past menopause. But that doesn't mean your symptoms go away. 13% of the population of women will continue to have hot flashes and night sweats for the rest of their lives. So it's quite a high number. And
Okay.
even for men, you know, if we're aging properly and we're healthy, men should not be losing their testosterone. But we see younger and younger men having a very low testosterone level. I've seen 20-year-olds with lower testosterone than my 70-year-olds. It happens a
Wow.
lot because of the chemicals. And so if we want to stay healthy and strong, we need to keep those hormones at a balanced level. Even once we're beyond menopause, we still want some of those hormones there to protect our body from creating too many abnormal cells to create things like cancer or dementia. So
Okay.
we definitely want to keep those things in a range that's normal for us.
Okay. How about water? Because I know when I go to the supermarket, there's, the
Hmm.
regular water,
Hmm.
there's, spring water, but there's also alkaline, right?
Hmm.
How
Hmm.
important or what's the difference? How important is it to consume? Now, I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, doctor. Alkaline, you can't consume too much of alkaline water daily. Is that
That's
correct?
correct. Yeah. You don't want all your water to be alkaline. You want
Okay.
some of it because your body wants to be balanced. You don't want to have a really acidic body. And if you're uncertain if that's the case, you can buy these test strips from the local pharmacy or the health food store and pee on a strip, and it'll tell you if your body's acidic. The more acid
Oh,
is that's in your body, the more inflammation you're going to have. So the more pain you're going to have in your joints and your muscles, and more fatigue you're going to have. So it's really important to have healthy water. And I always tell people, if you're
right.
drinking tap water, there's going to be a lot of chlorine in there. There's going to be a lot of
Oh,
chemicals
yeah.
in there to clean it. So you want to test your water to make sure that it doesn't have contaminants in it, like lead and toxins and things like that. And if you live in a rural area and you're on a well, you want to have your water tested to make sure you don't have glycophosphate in it, which is the same thing that we find in Roundup, because that can
Okay.
create cancer for you. And it's very
Ooh,
important to drink healthy water.
yeah.
And there's lots of different purification processes you can use. You can use charcoal, you can use reverse osmosis, any of those kinds of things, distilled. There are pluses and minuses with all of that. Like when you use
Okay.
reverse osmosis, it takes out a lot of your minerals. So you have
Okay.
to replenish your minerals from the water. So if you're using exclusively RO water and nothing else, you want to bring back minerals. But if you're using that, maybe say 80% of the time, and the rest of the time you're getting other water, you should be able to get enough minerals from there so you're not deficient in it.
Okay, okay. I've seen a comment here on in my Instagram, and they're saying about the keto diet. What are your
Mhm.
facts, myths about the keto
Yeah.
diet? Who should do it? Who should not do
Mhm.
it?
So the keto diet is a really great diet. It eliminates a lot of the carbohydrates. Most diets out there these days are limiting our carbohydrates. The problem with the keto diet is it sustainable long term? And what we typically find with people is it's not. And it'll work really well for you to lose body fat quickly, like within, 6 to 12 months. It's not unusual to see people lose 40 to 60 pounds. However, at some point, oftentimes the keto diet stops working and you no longer lose
Yeah,
weight and you can't maintain it. It's really hard because it's a very strict carbohydrate restrictive diet. I think using a macro diet is much better, where we're actually calculating our macros based on how much activity we have.
okay.
And that way you can cheat from time to time because you're still within your macros and it's not quite
Yeah.
so restrictive.
Okay, okay, great. That is awesome, doctor. And of course,
Mhm.
stay away from sugar, especially
Yes.
artificial sugar. I mean,
Hmm.
oh my God, that's so hard. And my daughter, she's 9 years old, and I tell her do not have sugar. It's crazy because even now we see children at a young age
Hmm.
getting diabetes, and it's
Yes.
crazy because the parents, you have to control the consumption of candy.
Mhm.
My daughter, I tell her, do you want to be with your teeth falling out and you
Mhm.
want to be overweight? She's like, no. I said, then don't eat candy. Eat more
Mhm.
vegetables and fruit.
Absolutely. If we acquire that taste at a young age for sugar, that's all we're going to want. But we have the luxury of acquiring the taste for fruits and vegetables at that age too. And children don't know the difference. It's us as parents and grandparents that have a problem because we think that they deserve a treat. We need to give them a treat. But as soon as we give
Yeah,
them that treat, they get the taste for that and they just want to keep consuming it.
exactly.
And honestly, doing the artificial sweeteners is worse than doing white refined sugar. All those
Oh,
artificial
that's
sweeteners are
important.
known to cause cancer. We've known that since the 70s. So you're better off, if you're going to have a treat, have it with a real sugar or have it with something like stevia or erythritol. They're much sweeter than natural sugars, but
Okay.
you don't have to use as much of them. They don't disrupt your blood sugar or your insulin. So they're better for you as long as you're not doing a
Okay.
lot of those either.
Okay. All right, doctor. Well, thank you so much, doctor. Um, Time has flown, and but everything that you gave me today, my audience, I appreciate it. A lot of people are writing, but they are very satisfied with the information you've given. Thank you, Doctor Deborah. I appreciate
You
your time. I know you have a busy schedule, so I hope sometime in the future I could reach out to you. We could do another segment, or if anything. What do you have anything
absolutely.
planned for the next few months or anything like that? Like any events, or are you just more
Yeah.
in you are okay?
Mhm.
Can you share that with us?
Yes, absolutely. So we are doing a 15K a day doc event in August here in Waukesha, Wisconsin. It's August 20th and 21st for any healthcare practitioners that want to learn how to create a profitable functional medicine practice. So I'd love to invite any of
Okay.
your guests that are in that area that want to do something like this, reach out to us and we're happy to get you information on it.
Okay, great. Yeah, because I think on your 15K a day doc on Facebook, you share something with that, right?
Yes, we do. We had a
Okay.
webinar last night, and you
Okay, I
can
seen that.
reach out to us and get a replay of that if you'd like.
Okay.
But yes, our event is going to be coming up in August 20th and 21st.
Okay, great. Well, this is being recorded through Facebook Live and YouTube and the auto download. So I'm gonna have all this the links available as soon as we finish here today. Okay, doctor?
Wonderful. Thank you so much. This has been a great time.
Thank you, Doctor. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. You have a great weekend, okay?
Thank you. You too. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Well, there you have it, folks. Thank you again, guys, for sharing. Please share this content. If you know anyone that could use benefit from this podcast, please share this podcast. And like you can see on my screen, you can follow her on Instagram at 15K a day doctor, the Serenity Health, as well on Twitter and Facebook. Okay, so go ahead and follow me as well on Instagram under Angel Santos 75 and Twitter. Okay, guys. So I appreciate your time, guys. Thank you so much. Please, if you have any questions or comments, look her up on Facebook, okay, under 15K a day doctor, and she could go ahead and write to you back and whatnot, and like you heard about the live training and all that. Okay, guys. So thank you again for joining this podcast. I appreciate it. And before I leave, as you already know, I want to leave you with a positive word, and it says on Proverbs 23:22, listen to your father. What a coincidence, right? Father's Day weekend. Listen to your father. Without him, you would not exist. When your mother is old, show her your appreciation. And that's in Proverbs 23:22, and that's the Good News translation. So, guys, thank you again. I hope to see you guys on the next episode. And remember, natural supplements. If you have any questions, concerns, give me a call, and I'll be glad to share you my link, which I shared earlier. And you can go ahead and visit my virtual store and look up each product and what it's for. Okay, because we have energy, collagen, all that stuff that she mentioned. We also have that there. So, guys, thank you once again. I'll see you on the next episode of the Young Entrepreneur Mindset. Blessings, safe weekend, and happy Father's Day. Take care.